A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Okay, this is a video response to the response that I made to Healthy Addict's video, Sell Me Your Religion. Um, First off, I'll just say, yeah, sorry for taking a very long time. Um, in this video, I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. I'm not a scholar. If I was, I'd probably do a much better job. But I'll still try my best for I'll try to do whatever I can do, and hopefully everything I say will be clear and it'll be beneficial. And yeah, okay. So yeah, first off, one I asked you about those videos, the miracle of the Holy Quran, Sheikh Hussein Sitar. But thanks for giving me your comments and your feelings towards how you felt towards the other videos as well. It's good. It's nice. I got to know what you had to say about those other ones also. So the first video you said, right, about the one that talks about atheists that call it the God. Regarding your friends, I don't know exactly what your friends went through. I don't know how severe it was. I don't know what the situation was. I still think it is true. I remember there's this famous pop star, Cat Stevens from the UK. Before he became Muslim, he's now Yusuf Islam. He also mentioned a similar situation where he was almost about to drown. And yeah, and I think also people, when they are about to die, they probably still will call it the God. And I'm not sure about the Bible. There's something mentioned in the Quran about this man named Pharaoh. He was like this very awful, cruel oppressor, dictator. And he was in Egypt during the time of the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, or in English known as Pharaoh and Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. And it's mentioned how Pharaoh he witnessed so many clear signs and miracles with his own eyes, and he had like no excuse not to accept Islam, and despite all the evidences he was given, he still decided to reject Islam and not believe in it. And what ended up happening was, I think it was in the Red Sea. He died was that he drowned in the I think it was in the Red Sea, and when he was about to die, that's when he tried to become Muslim, but it was not accepted. It was too late. And yeah, regardless of that, right? Well, first I'll just say this. For me, right? I don't know exactly how you are an atheist though, because to me, I don't understand. Like, it kind of boggles my mind how someone can be an atheist. Because I can kind of understand if you're an agnostic. I mean, maybe you were thinking or something, maybe, and I can maybe understand if you were a deist, like you believed in God, but you didn't really believe in religion. Like, I can understand that. Maybe you just never came across Islam and all the other religions that you came across, and like you just got fed up with them. So I can understand maybe if you were a deist. I mean, as a Muslim, I believe all the other religions except for Islam are all man-made religions, and yeah, I can maybe understand if you were a deist, but I mean, yeah, I can. Yeah, so for me, right? For me, like this is probably one of the main reasons, if not the only reason, why I would believe in a God. I mean, when I look outside at the trees, at plants, human beings, animals, I would just look at the processes that take place, and I just look at the whole reproduction and the whole cycle and everything that continues. And when I look at it all, I can see that there's a force. I mean, if that force was not there, these things would cease to exist. So I know that this force can only come from a deity, from God. And I never was an atheist in my life, but I was thinking about becoming an atheist. I was thinking about why I should not be an atheist. Or I mean, I guess I was thinking about whether or not I should be an atheist when I was 17, 18 years, and yeah, and I chose not to be an atheist. But anyway, okay, that's that. The next point I'd like to talk about is, yeah. So you were asking me about the miracle of the Quran, like the language, the style. Yeah, it's that aspect of the Quran which makes the Quran a miracle is about the linguistics, like the eloquence of it. And yeah, it has to be it's in Arabic. It doesn't deal with the content, although the content of the Quran is also a miracle itself. Where you talk about the prophecies in the Quran. Where you say how you can say that about other religions. I guess what you should do is it's probably better to just compare the prophecies in the Quran and then compare the prophecies that are mentioned in the other religions, and then you'll probably notice you'll probably notice like a distinction. And you were asking about, if you were talking about how it would have been good if there were references, right, for from the embryology in the Quran. If you go to those videos, those two videos, the Miracle of the Holy Quran, Sheikh Hussein Sitar, part 1 and 2. In the description of those videos, there's a link to a video, Quran and Modern Science, Conflict or Conciliation. It's presented by Dr. Zakir Naik, and he talks about various points that were mentioned in the Quran, and he explains he gives the references there, and he explains he explains wording and everything, and talks about how he just points out scientific miracles in the Quran. He explains them. The part about the embryology, I think that was mentioned in somewhere in the last 15 minutes of that video. So if you want to check that out, you can. Also, after you're done watching this video, please look into the description. I'll be including some links to some places which I think would be relevant to you, which would be of interest to you. So just look in the description for the links, okay? And also, how you said you wanted, I think you said you wanted to just see for yourself, right? You're probably not gonna find it, because what happened? I'll just talk about translation. So when the Quran is only the Quran, and when it's in Arabic, when you translate the Quran from Arabic to another language, you're not. It can't be called the Quran anymore. And what happens is you lose many of the meanings, and you lose a lot of secondary meanings, and you can still read it, right? But a lot of meanings are lost. I'll just give you one example. If you go to the first chapter of the Quran, the second verse, it goes Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Rabb, the word Rabb in Arabic, they translate it in English as Lord, but Rabb doesn't just mean Lord. Rabb also means cherisher, sustainer, maintainer, caretaker, right? And also, if you go to chapter 2 of the Holy Quran, I think it's verse number 7, verse number 6 and 7. Over there, it talks about. It says in verse number 6, Allah has set a seal on their hearts and on their hearings. In other words, they are closed from accepting Allah's guidance, and on their eyes there is a covering. Theirs will be a great torment. Now, if you read that, you might think, "What? This sounds so unfair. This sounds like Allah is purposely making someone become a rejecter of faith, and how can they be blamed for it and stuff?" Now, it might sound like that when you read it, right? But you should. That's one of the things. You might misinterpret some things if you just read the Quran yourself, especially in also a translation. If you have a Tafsir, which is like a commentary explanation, that would help you to learn the deeper guidance and the messages behind the messages of the verses of the Quran. I mean, I'm not completely discouraging you from reading a translation of the Quran in English on your own, but I would just like you to keep these points in mind. I mean, translations are still good. I mean, many people, just by reading an English translation, they become Muslim. They say that they realize that this book could not have been written by any human being, and it only could have been by God. But yeah, you can still read a translation. I'm not trying to discourage you from that. I would just like you to keep these points in mind. And also, if you go to chapter 96 of the Quran, right, these are one of the verses where it talks about the embryology. In verse number 2, it says, "Has created man from a clot," right, a piece of thick coagulated blood. Now, the word alaq, right, they translate it as clot in some, I guess in this translation and probably the other translations, I think. But the word alaq, it also has other meanings, like a leech. That's one of the other meanings. But okay, just looking at the description of this video, and I'll just include some links that you can check out. So yeah, so just when you read translation, I mean, you could reflect on, go ahead and reflect on and contemplate on it, but just keep these points in mind, okay? And where you were asking about heaven and hell, if you don't believe in hell, well, heaven and hell, those are fundamental beliefs of Muslims. I mean, in order to be a Muslim, you have to not only believe that there's no God except Allah, you also have to accept that Muhammad was a prophet, and naturally that would mean that you accept everything that Muhammad taught, everything that Muhammad preached. So, and heaven and hell, those are fundamental beliefs of Muslims. So to be a Muslim, yeah, you have to believe in that. And about where you were talking about, I think, imbecile. Like imbecile, I think it refers to people who are mentally retarded or like they're insane. They don't, I don't think would fall under the category of imbecile. Um, and then about with regards to the ignorant, and you were asking if you don't believe this stuff, are you damned to hell?